Well, I should be able to decide whether or not a manufacturer can put a 4-cylinder in a truck. But getting up. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2022 Chevy Silverado 1500 Rally Edition. First and foremost, though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Chevy here in Provo for giving me some time with this truck. Check out their inventory and link below. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2.7 liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 17 around town and then 20 on the highway, with power outputs being 310 horsepower and then 348 pound-feet of torque. And I love how it says turbo. Now let's go over the front end of this Rally Edition, and sorry for the snow, I got as much of it off as I possibly could manage. But anyways, there are these stripes, which obviously don't pop out all that much because this truck is black, but still a cool part of the package. Coming down below, we've got the halogen lights here for the headlights. Notice how the whole front end is also all blacked out as well. You've got the body colored bumper just down below. We do have the tow hooks here on the front end, and then we have the venting off to the side that always looks great. And yeah, we pretty much have this like sporty blacked out truck from the front end perspective. Imagine one of these in like white or something like that, and think about how all the elements would pop a lot more. But I mean, this is still cool in black. Now coming to the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped on 20-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And you guys can see the wheels are all blacked out, another part of this package. I think they look fantastic. And then notice how we have these more aggressive tires. Obviously these are great for winter times like this or a little bit of off-roading. There's the front suspension right there. And then you guys can see here with the fender how that's been molded. We have our blacked out Silverado badge right here. You have the mirrors that match the door handles, which is a nice touch. And then stepping all the way back, you guys can see the full side view here with the Silverado. And then notice how we have the 4x4 badge here on the back end. And again, this setup is identical to the rear. Got the leaf springs there in the back, and well, that's all for that. So here's our key fob. We have the unlock, the lock, and then the drop down for the tailgate and remote start as well. This comes with quite a bit. 1,829 pounds of payload capacity, towing capacity of about 9,000 pounds. Pretty crazy out of a 4-cylinder. But anyways, notice how we have the protection here on the bed. Some of the payloads being used up by this white fluffy stuff. And then you guys will notice that we actually have the lights here in the back. There is also a power outlet just down below, so it's kind of dark, so it's hard to see. But yeah, and then there's got the Chevy bow tie there on the back, and then you do have to lift up the tailgate, but it's actually very light and easy to get into place. And moving on from that to the rest of the rear, notice how we've got the normal Silverado taillights here in the back. We have the bumper steps, Chevrolet logo stamped on the bed, and again, those stripes continue here onto the back. Blacked out badges for everything. Got the receiver hitch down below, and well, that's all for that. Now popping here to the interior, pretty basic. Again, this is built off of a custom package, so you're gonna have more of a baseline interior. But look at the trim piece right there, that looks really good. And then coming here to the seats, you guys can see the design here in the seats. Hopefully it's popping up onto the camera. And then the stitching here off to the side. And then we've got the rubber floor mats right here. Got some vents for the rear passengers, under seat storage, and well, that's all for the back, so see ya. Now here's the door panel at the front. It's pretty much identical to what you have in the rear from a material standpoint. There's a quick look at the mirror. And then coming down below, we've got a door lock and unlock with the tubular door handle. All of our window controls, the mirror adjustments. And then here are the front seats. Again, you've got the cloth seats with that cool design right there. And then notice how we have the power adjustments there on the side. Pedals just down below. We've got this for the parking brake. Light controls right here. We've got that for the cargo light. And then notice how we have some fun stuff happening here. So we've got our hill climb assist. We've got our 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, and then our auto. And then we have our trailer tow mode. So you just shift it to that side and then it'll pop it into the trailer tow mode. And there's one more look before we pop in. Do 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 do. Now here's a quick look at the steering wheel here on the custom. Again, pretty basic from a material standpoint. We still have the voice command controls here. We've got controls for the center stack. There are radio controls on the back of the steering wheel. We have this all for the cruise control, and then you guys will notice we have the windshield wiper / turn signal stock. We do have a column shifter for the 8-speed automatic with the manual shift function as well. And that's all for the steering wheel area. Now here is the center gauge cluster. Notice how we've got all the analog gauges all around, and then you do have this screen here in the center which you can scroll through a few different items to give you different bits of information on the truck, the settings, all that fun stuff. Again, there is that trailer tow mode that'll pop up, so you just have to twist the dial, pops up with a little trailer, and that's all for that. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, we're going to pop it into reverse. So we've got a backup camera. It does have trajectory lines. They do turn with the steering wheel. And going from the camera system to the rest of the infotainment screen, first off, response time with the screen's actually really good. It is the smaller unit that Chevy offers, but I mean, it still gets the job done. Still has Apple CarPlay, still has Android Auto, analog buttons just down below it, and well, that's all for that area. Now here's our analog controls here for the climate. We have a single zone climate, and then we have our blink switches on either side. We've got our power outlet, that just turns them on. Stability control, that's for the hazard lights. That's the drop down for the tailgate, auto stop start, trailer brake controls, and then we've got this whole charging area right over here. And then again, notice the rubber floor covering all that fun stuff. Definitely nice, makes cleanup a lot easier. And then we have the center console slash bench seat. So this pulls up to be another seat, and there's no under seat storage or anything like that. And then here is our dual glove box. Definitely nice. And then you guys can see here on the dash, again, pretty basic from a material standpoint, but again, this is built off of a custom. And then you guys can see here, pretty straightforward. And then the glass there in the back is fixed. Here's our window sticker for the custom. You guys can feel free to freeze the frame if you want on the standard equipment. I'm also going to focus on the options. So again, this is the Rally Edition. It's a $2,400 package. Adds stuff like the side steps, for example, and then obviously blacking out the badging and all that fun stuff. But then this truck has quite a bit added to it on top of that, so you guys can read through all of those options. Total MSRP $46,690, and wait for it, wait a little bit longer. Let's take it out and see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here in this Rally Edition. There's your visibility of the hood, both of the mirrors, throughout the rest of the rear, and let's set off. So we are setting off here in the Rally Edition. I'll kind of get on it a little bit. Can hear quite a bit of turbo blow off. We'll get another good acceleration up here because we have to come to a full stop. This review will mainly be about the 2.7 and whether or not this engine should really exist in a pickup truck, and I feel like I am the proper authority to comment on this. I have the new Gen 3 Raptor, and then I have a Ram TRX, which the Ram TRX is really why I have the authority, because I have the coolest V8 truck on the market right now. And so I should be able to decide whether or not a manufacturer can put a 4-cylinder in a truck. But getting up, the 8-speed automatic is pretty good with the response time with the gear shifts and everything. And this 4-cylinder is actually relatively responsive. And you guys gotta remember, this is before they do the updates. After the update, they're going to increase the power outputs with this engine. And that's gonna be the facelifted version of this 22 Silverado. This is pre-facelift. It's still a 22, it's just before all the changes. And so yeah, that's should change things. But as this stands right now, it's actually pretty peppy. And I'm trying to like mentally compare this to the 5.3 V8 because I feel like, you know, the 6.2 still is definitely the engine that I like the most from Chevy. But there's a lot of people that still buy the 5.3 and they still pair the 5.3 with the 8-speed automatic. And so I imagine there could be quite a few people comparing this 2.7 to the 5.3. So the first thing that I'll say is the 2.7 is definitely quieter at idle, but it's a 4-cylinder, so that kind of makes sense. The other thing is just how the torque comes on with this powertrain is definitely, you know, obviously turbocharged, right? So it's different, right? The 5.3, you get a little bit of push off the line and then it kind of keeps going through. This, you have got that little bit of turbo lag, but then once it hits, it hits pretty hard, and it feels good. It feels nice and torquing. It's got that aggressive push that you kind of want out of a truck. I will say that. And then in terms of like the driving and handling and all that, what I will say is you definitely can feel how light this front end is. Yeah, the front end feels just incredibly light. And again, that's what you'd expect with a turbo 4-cylinder. The other thing that I would like to mention is, and you guys saw earlier, is the payload with this truck is going to be more because it's got a 4-cylinder. Because this engine weighs less, you're going to get a higher payload capacity because you got less weight right in the engine department. Continuing along a little bit more, we're going to get another acceleration here, and so you guys can hear the turbo sounds. That's interesting. Of course, this person decides to pull out, so we gotta wait again for a little bit more space. Okay. This truck has so much blow off. It's crazy that it's got that much turbo noise stock. But I guess we'll get into selling things up. So first off, let's talk about this Rally Edition. I think it's a cool package, you know, getting an entry-level, you know, truck, but then blacking it out, making it look cool, having more aggressive tires on it, the size tips, all that kind of stuff. I think it's great. I think the Rally Edition is it's money well spent. So yeah, Rally Edition's worth it. As for the 2.7, is it okay to put a 2.7 in a truck, like a 4-cylinder rather, turbocharged 4-cylinder? Is this sacrilege, right? Here's what I have to say. It drives great, right? I do feel a little bit of turbo lag, but I mean, I feel like Ford kind of initially proved that you can turbocharge trucks, and you know, people will buy them, you know, and buy them in mass. And this obviously is another step, right, in that direction to a whole nother degree because it's a 4-cylinder. But it feels great. Like it feels at home. Like I don't feel like I'm really missing out all that much. Yeah, it doesn't have the V8 sound. It's got turbo sounds though, which are pretty cool. And it feels like it moves it fine. Like I don't feel like I'm lacking power. I can't imagine this truck though, while towing, it would kind of strain that engine a little bit more compared to what you'd have with the V8, right? Even though the towing capacities are about the same, this engine, right, is just going to be constantly in those turbos going through fuel. So I guess I would take that into account if you're planning on towing with it a lot. But if you're not going to tow with it a lot and it's just going to be kind of like a run around truck, this truck is great. It really is. It just it gets up, it moves, the front end feels light, you get a little bit more payload out of it. Yeah, I'm all for it. So I think Chevy did a good job, and I think the fact that they're adding more power to this powertrain, I think that in itself is great. So I'm excited to drive the new version of the 2.7, and I'm grateful I got to drive the 2.7 before they updated it, because it's the first time I've ever driven this. And I guess to give this package a final score, I would rate this at a let's see, base model truck with the engine, everything taken into account, 7.5 out of 10. It's great. I'd rather have the V8, but this is still really good. Now let's get some things up for our video on this 2022 Chevy Silverado 1500 Rally Edition. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Chevy here in Provo for giving me some time with the truck. Check out the inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.